But in the end, I'd like to hear from you personally. What's your experience being a startup founder? Because we have a lot of aspiring founders also, entrepreneurs, listening to the podcast. And we would love to hear your advice, your story, your experience. And I want you to be frank. Like you said before, you mentioned that it's not recommended to be an entrepreneur. And I've heard this not just from you. It's, I think, at least for those who are frank about it, they're actually going to tell you to the face, don't be an entrepreneur. I mean, NVIDIA's Jensen Huang said, don't do this. I don't recommend this.
Yeah.
So I want to hear your story. Why be an entrepreneur? And for those who eventually must do it, because I think sometimes people, it's like a survival thing, not just something they dream about. What would you recommend? And yeah, just want to hear your story.
All right. Gonna try to be, practical. Although we can talk about emotions and stuff, but it's very, very subjective. I don't think people can benefit from that. Well, I used to give a lecture about why not being a startup and an entrepreneur. It's not a depressing, it's funny actually, a funny presentation. But when you look at the statistics, but without you taking all the peeling off all the layers of marketing and and things you probably put in the media, is that it's globally something like 1 to 2,400 startups that are successful. Successful is, by the way, a secondary, some kind of liquidation or something that the original founders can get more than $10 million before tax. Okay, that's my criteria for success, because, I can always work for Amazon, Apple, Google, Facebook, whatever, and make probably 3 times more than I make as a startup entrepreneur. So during all those years, you lose a lot of money eventually. So you need to be compensated somehow. And we're just talking about really just capital-wise, without all. There's a lot of benefits, all right, to do something, to fail, to succeed, to all this roller coaster is also, we'll talk about it. But, just very strict KPIs, like how do you measure success of a startup? You count how much, compensation, how much money the founders receive from it. And then you will see that it's about 1 to 24, 2,500, 2,500 companies to 1. That's not a good ratio. and there's a lot of reasons for that. It's not my job. There's a lot of analysts and things that has access to more data than I have. But understanding this ratio, you do understand you're going to fail. All right. So you're probably going to fail, and probably going to fail several times. Like even if you do it, more than once, or so. This is something you need to be built for, because you put a lot of your time and effort, and you give away your hobbies, and you give away a lot of time with your family and your friends and things that people like to do, and you give it to your company, because there's a very big difference. It's very personal, but on an average, founders, the company is their baby in some way. They put a lot of effort, they care about it, they have a lot of equity also. Like they want to be eventually compensated, they want to be the heroes. There's a lot of potential benefits from being a successful entrepreneur. But the road is very difficult, all right? And we call it bipolar disorder, all right? Because you're constantly in bipolar disorder, going up and down, and it can happen, within 2 hours. Like you have 1 good hour with a customer, and then 1 bad hour with an investors, and you're up and you're down again, and then you're up and you're down again. So you need to be resilient enough in order to absorb all of those changes and maintain, we call it mellow. Like you need to be mellow. You need somehow
Stable.
Exactly. Not to be, not to crash every time, or, be completely, out of it just because you had a really good success. Because even going back to the products of NeuroBrave, I'm using my own products all the time, and I'm making sure, to monitor myself and use our own therapies, and it keeps me very balanced. And you can see that, your system can absorb as much as you have, and as much as experience and support from your family and friends, and each person has, his own support from other places. But at the end, it's something very internal. Like you need that internal force to help you went through all of those ups and downs all the time. and and keep going in the direction you want to go. And I work like 18 hours a day for years since I've known myself, even before being an entrepreneur. Also, in the unit, everybody works very hard, and you do it for the country and for for the security of the country. And it's a type. I'm used to do those things. I might enjoy even the suffering a little bit, all right, but this is me. And looking at myself, and now it's a little bit subjective. I can do other things. I work in corporation. But in the end, it's like an internal force or voice or whatever, a psychiatric problem that I have. But the thing is that that this is your contribution to the world. At least this is what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know that I can do a lot of things. Some of them I suck. Some of them I'm very good. Some of them even create damage. There's a lot of things you can do. And I want to make sure that I spend my time contribution as much as I can to everyone else. And this is why I'm focusing on the things that I think I can do a little bit better than others. You need to prove it. And you need to fail many times as NVIDIA CEO in order to be successful, probably. Sometimes you get lucky, by the way. It happens, but not often,
Very rarely.
Almost never, yeah. But you need a combination, I think, also luck, specifically in the markets, and a lot of resilience and a lot of hard work. It's always like this. And since, again, personally, I like to work hard. Not all people like that, and that's very good. It's okay. You need to be able to absorb all those changes and be very resilient on your inner psychological system. You need a lot of support from outside. You cannot do all those things by yourself. And you need to be very persistent, because it takes time. It always takes time. Every hour, every day, something else breaks. And you need to fix it, or just, live with it, that it's broken a little bit, and since someone else is going to fix it. and that is, I have to say that, entrepreneurship is not only for startups and businesses and stuff like that. It's things like you do and things like other people do. And, working in Israel with a lot of mental health care and a lot of organizations, you see people doing amazing things, not for profit, just for other people. And that's even more important, I think, once, you don't have that goal of financial goal that you need to get to. But and I think you see a lot of common denominator between those people that can and wishes to continue and doing all of this hard work. And I think it's a type. It's a type. I can do other things. I won't be enjoying it, and there will always be something missing, and always the thought that maybe I can do more. And over here, I'm constrained with the corporation saying something, and I have to comply with that. And maybe when I have my own company, I can be a little bit more free. Although that's also not true. Like, I'm the CEO, and I have more people telling me what to do than most of my employees. It's funny. It's, you're not on your own.
But at least the business is self-imposed. I mean, you decided to do this.
Again, I have investors, I have, shareholders, I have my partners, I have my employees, I have my managers. I need to decide. And I like to make decisions. Not everybody like to make decisions. I'm okay with making decisions, but you don't do them most of them on your own. So, you still need either feedback or someone saying, yes, it's okay, before you can make a decision. So anyway, I'm most of the day I'm working for other people. That's a little bit funny, but this is how it goes. And as much as you go up the chain, like when you're very low down the chain, you only have one boss. Right? You have your team leader, that's it. Right. You have your colleagues, but you don't care about them all the time. You have one boss, he's telling you what to do, where to go, and he's paying you, And then you go up and you have that manager and that employee and that team leader, and they're also telling you what to do. And as you go up the chain, there are more and more and more people telling you what to do, and that's okay.
So entrepreneurship is not for everyone. It's very difficult. It's very challenging. The road is very ugly, though also rewarding, But I guess people have to reassess themselves very, very carefully if this is the route they want to take, because I think these days it's been marketized, it's been commercialized. Everyone is a founder CEO. Everyone wants to be, leading a company, but I think if they really take a look at themselves, it might be the case that, this is not what I want to do. So I'm not saying entrepreneurship is bad, but people must be very, very careful in what they want to do. So I guess the last question is why entrepreneurship for you specifically?
So I told you, the one line answer is that I can do This is the only thing I can do.
Any story from the past, any experience that led you to being more entrepreneurial than most others?
I think I've always been like this.
Okay.
Probably I've been, even in the first degree in the Technion, I was in a group of entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, and we were a part of like a program for that.
Were you in the Bistek or T-Hub? Was it?
It was before that, but it was
Okay.
one. Don't remember the name of the guy. I think he passed away. It was really, really good. He pushed the entrepreneurship all around Israel. Anyway, it was like a program of 20 students, and everyone has his own project, and it was like a really one-on-one entrepreneurship in like 3 or 4 weeks.
Right.
And then we need to develop the idea and need to sell it. And a lot of companies, by the way, a lot of corporations came to listen to the exhibition.
And you saw a lot of potential in yourself while you're doing that.
I think I really enjoy that, and again, it's a lot of hard work. Like you really need to work for all of those things. It doesn't just come up. And I'm okay with working very hard. And I think again that's my character. And I really love to consult with other people. I love to hear a lot of advices, and I never think I'm the smartest guy in the room. There's a thing with specifically U.S. Entrepreneurs. You need to be the smartest guy in the room. I'm never the smartest guy in the room. I don't care about it. As long as there are people around me that are smarter or better than me, that means I'm in the right place. Like I think my my advantage is that I think I can harness or align a lot of people together and make sure that together we follow some kind of trajectory. But I never do those things alone. Like I have friends that are single founder or single CEO and this kind of thing. It's terrible. It's really just tearing you apart all the time, and you're losing everyone else. Like sales and marketing, there's a lot of people better than me. Tech, of course, a lot of people. There's in everything that I'm doing, there is someone I hope next to me that is better than me in what they do. And my job is basically synchronize everyone and make sure we're going in the right way.
Play the orchestra.
Exactly. This is what I like to do. I'm also, I also like the ideation part and thinking and understanding. I understand AI very deeply. I understand what my data scientists are doing. No, up to some level. I understand my customers. I like sales and marketing. I really enjoy, I have an interesting story, but I really enjoy when a customer is willing to pay us. This is that's the threshold of you're actually doing something right. You're solving someone else's problem all the way until he's willing to open his pocket and pay you for that. That is a very difficult action,
it's a
to
proof
pay
of
something.
value.
Yeah, and after working so hard on something, there is someone else in the world where you're selling him a story, you're telling him something, and then he say, okay, you're telling me a story, I want to try, and then he actually see it's working.
Yeah.
So that was number one exciting. You actually the person was surprised that actually the story you were telling him is actually working. That's, by the way, a lot of Israeli startups were really good at that. We're making things happen, and they're actually working a lot of the time, not just telling stories. And then you say, okay, and maybe it's actually solving the problem that you were telling me that story about. So I want to try it outside. I want to really feel, see if, it's in reducing my stress, reducing my employee stress, reducing my organization, helping my consumers, these kind of things. And then when the person or organization is willing to pay, this is a really good feeling. And, there is something, by the way, also I'm telling to, I think it's not organizational psychology, but more the values of the company. Right, we're a small company, but still important the values. We're very transparent. We're are very resilient. Our customers are very important. But I told my employees, and I keep on telling them time after time, something very, very simple, and might be looking at it can be very shallow, maybe even. There is one thing we need to do in our company beside all the good thing and helping people. That's important, all right. But in order for the company, which is a commercial company, in order to survive, in order to be successful, we need to make our customers want to pay us money. That's the only thing we need to do. If we can make customers want to pay us, that means that everything we're doing, all the way from the top to bottom, it means we're doing something right. After that, we can think, all right, want to make sure it's helping the world because we have our vision, we have our social responsibility, that the tech is cool, etc. But first of all, you want to make your customers happy, satisfied, and want to pay you. If you don't do that, nothing else really matters.
Market validation, yeah.
Market validation, product market fit. And product market fit is now replicate that, that we have one customer is willing to pay you, want to make sure there's more of them. If it's just one, you're also in a problem.
Right, maybe it's your mom.
Exactly. Friends and family. No.
Right.
Even if it's, if it's a Fortune 500 company, you want to make sure there's another 400 like them that are willing to pay you the same way.
Yeah.
But again, going back to myself, and these are the things where the loop is closed, is getting close from my point of view. It means we did all this hard work. We spent all of this, time and money and GPUs and whatever we're using to develop what we're doing. And that is the point where we're actually making a change. That is what I'm excited about.
That's the conclusion of the hard work.
Yeah, exactly.